All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us either live or if you're catching the replay of this. Our class this evening is stress, sleep, and emotions. So we are going to cruise through some natural solutions that can help support your body with this topic. All right. So I am going to share my screen and we are going to begin. All right. Carrie, can you confirm? Can you see the handout? Oh, you're on mute, my friend.
Yes, I can see it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So for stress, sleep, and emotions this evening, we're going to begin at the very top. At the top, there's a scale similar to what we had experienced last week, in which we had a scale as well. So this is kind of setting the tone for this evening and kind of what we want to focus in on to help support these three areas, okay? So with this scale, you're going to do a 0 where you're not experiencing this at all, and 10 that this is a big problem for you. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. It says, how often are you aware of being stressed in your daily life? Okay, so think about that one for a moment. How concerned are you about the quantity and the quality of your sleep? Okay, so do you toss and turn at night? Do you easily fall asleep? Okay. And then how frequently do your emotions feel difficult or are they managed appropriately? So do you feel like in a situation you have a relaxed reaction, or do you feel like if someone were to say something, it'd just be like a fly off the wheel and everything would just start spinning? Okay. So go ahead and rate yourself and think about where you're at. All right, so the next area that we're going to move into is the hypothalamus. All right, so this is a tiny part of your brain, a tiny control tower, as they say. Oh, I got one to let in, so give me a minute here. There we go. I think they popped in. Leslie, thank you for joining us. So the hypothalamus is this tiny control tower in your brain. And when you are stressed, that orders your brain to send out these stress hormones, okay? But that area is designed to protect you. So if we prolong our body to frequent amounts of stress, okay, we know that that can have a big impact. And impacts that can occur are things like irritability, anxiety, depression, headaches, insomnia, poor immune function, okay, or even increased blood pressure. So this evening, we're going to talk about ways that we can kind of help control that using some natural solutions, okay? And one of them is the area of sleep. And sleep tends to be 70% of the problems in sleep are related to psycho or physiological issues, meaning things that go on in our environment, or 15% of that actually comes from medical. So let's talk about some things that we can do to kind of help with our sleep before we dive into the solutions here, okay? One of the things is sticking to a schedule. Okay, so sticking to a bedtime schedule. And I know that for some of us, we are on a summer break, so we feel that we can go to bed a little bit later, that kind of thing. But I encourage you that if you do tend to go to bed later, like try and stick and create a schedule where you're consistently going to bed at that designated time, because maybe you're waking up later in the morning, but sticking to a schedule is definitely going to help that sleep. All right, the other option or the other area we want to focus in on is a healthy diet, okay? So we know that food is the fuel for our body, and so we want to make sure that we're getting the right nutrients and we're providing ourselves with the right nutrients, and believe it or not, that's also going to help your sleep. And then you want to get up and move. No matter how hot or humid it is, get yourself some movement in the day. Okay, so anywhere from 30 minutes, your choice of what you do, but just make sure that you're getting in some movement. That's actually going to help your sleep process as well. And it's going to release your stress, just getting away from the environment, just a new change of scenery. Okay. And then the biggest kicker is limiting your screen time. Okay. So what happens at night is that we might be on our phones or we might be on our computers, and those devices are sending off a blue light. And when they send off a blue light, that is a signal to our body that our body's not ready for sleep. Okay, so you've heard people talk about blue light blocking glasses, or there's settings on your phones in which you can turn off that blue or activate the light so that it's like a nighttime setting. And you really want to take advantage of those, because then what that's doing is it's still letting your body know, hey, you know what? It's time for me to wind down. It's time for me to fall asleep. Okay, so make sure that some of those things are in place, because those are just helpful sleep routines to have in place always. Okay. And then what we're going to do is dive into some of those natural solutions. Okay. So we're going to begin with, in the middle of the page down, we have a nightly regimen on the left-hand side. Okay. So there are 2 nightly regimens here. And the reason why is because we know that a plan might not be perfect for everyone. Okay. So it might work well for person A, but then it might not work for person B. So these are 2 options that you can look into and pick one that might work best for you, or do a combination of both. Okay. So with the nightly regimen on the left-hand side, that is going to focus on taking Serenity soft gels. Okay, so Serenity soft gels calm the nervous system. They promote healthy relaxation and sleep. Okay, this capsule helps, or soft gel helps to shut off the brain so that you can go to sleep. Okay. And what makes this really awesome is that there was actually a clinical study done by doTERRA, and they focused on participants for 6 weeks. And so some of them had the Serenity soft gels and some of them did not. And those that did participate in the study and had the Serenity soft gels reported that their quality of sleep improved in that 6-week time. Okay, so that's awesome to hear. And in addition to the Serenity soft gels, what's awesome about them is that let's say that you have that excitement, or you're working on something and it keeps you up late at night. Okay, so we're thinking it's about midnight and you're like, man, I really need to get to sleep. I've got to get up early in the morning. I've got something going. Take your Serenity soft gels. That's going to help your sleep process. And then when you wake up in the morning, you're going to feel rested, like you had gotten enough sleep, even though you might have really gone to bed at midnight. Okay. And Serenity does come from the line of the Serenity oil. However, that's not, do not take the Serenity oil and put it into a capsule. Okay. So that's one that you're not going to find the supplemental facts on. The Serenity soft gels are completely different than the oil. Okay, so just some background on that. In addition to the nightly regimen, you can also take Copaiba. So the Copaiba soft gels are going to soothe your anxious feeling. They're going to basically balance your body and decrease inflammation. So we know that when that process is going on, it's helping your body stay calm. It's helping your body relax. It's helping your body get into that slumber state. Okay, so that's one regimen that you could take a peek at. Another regimen that you could look into, or the alternative nightly regimen, is utilizing the adaptive soft gels. So the adaptive soft gels come from our adaptive line. Okay, those are going to be for those who feel like their brain at the end of the day is just completely fried, and you need something to relax, to support your cognitive function, to kind of calm you down. So these soft gels are a blend of herbal supplements that are doing just that. They're calming, they're providing positive feelings, and they're giving you that state of mind and kind of balancing that, encouraging relaxation. So with the soft gels, you have a couple of different options there for adaptive. You can take them twice a day. So if you take them in the morning, that's going to take the edge off of the day. Okay. And if you take them at night, that's actually going to help you with your sleep support. So you may have heard me talk about these before. In taking these, I love taking these in combination with the oil, which we will chat about in a little bit, because when there are situations where I feel stress coming on or large crowds and anxiety, I'm reaching for my adaptive because it's putting my body at a calm state where I'm not feeling nervous and I'm not feeling anxious about situations. So even this evening before class started, I took my adaptive roller and I rolled it on my wrist, and I took my adaptive oil and I put a couple drops in my hand, and I just took a couple of deep breaths, and kind of just, my whole body was just like, we're good, we got this. Okay. So that is one of your options. And then you also have Copaiba soft gels, which we talked about on the left-hand side. And then you see the Yaropalm capsules. So our Yaropalm capsules, or our Yaropalm, is most well known for helping to support skin and brain. But one of the areas that it actually can do is help to support your immune system and help to support your emotional support. And that's going to also provide calm. So one that we might think of good for skin, good for other areas, is actually really awesome in helping to support our body with that calm and promotion of great sleep. So consider that one if you have not before. Okay. And then what we're going to do is jump down to the hibernation roller. Now, before we jump into that, how is everybody doing? Do we have any questions about anything? We feeling okay? All right, we're looking good. All right, so the hibernation roller is a roller that you could make. But what I want to draw your attention to is in the directions here, it says to combine 20 drops of each of these 4 oils into a roller, okay? Now, what we know and what Shauna has taught me and taught us is that in a 10 ml roller, similar to this size, we generally want to keep our rule of thumb of our oils to be under 30. So when I read this, I'm definitely thinking that the roller that they're creating is almost like a 20 ml or much larger. So most of us have the 10 ml. So what I would recommend for this roller creation, and maybe you want to make a side note for it, is that I would take the 4 oils that are listed there and try and do just 5 drops of them. Okay. Or if that doesn't, if you're thinking that's too much, you can always do less. You can do whatever works best for you. But I know that when I make a roller, I make them in the 10 ml. So I just want to bring your attention to that so that you can make an adjustment that works best for you. But with the hibernation roller, okay, you're going to combine these oils, which we'll talk about each of them in just a second here. And then you're going to top it off with fractionated coconut oil, or you're going to top it off with a, you could use jojoba oil, or if there's another oil that you would like to use, you can do that for the creation of your rollers. Okay, but your application of this roller is going to go to your feet, your big toe, your heart. You can put it in the palms of your hand and take a deep breath in. You can also, when you roll it in your hands, then take your hands and rub them on your pillow, okay? So that when you go to lay your head down for rest, you're also getting the scent of your hibernation roller, okay? Questions might come up about why feet, why the big toe. That all plays into the areas of reflexology. So if you haven't looked up reflexology, take a moment to do that. You can go ahead and Google that. And when you look up reflexology, it'll give you a map of your foot. And believe it or not, but the base of your foot has all these different areas that relate to your body. So a lot of times when you hear us say, roll the oil on your foot, roll the oil on your foot, because that reflexology is absorbing into our whole body based on our feet. Okay. All right. So taking a look at the oils that we have there, we have frankincense. We know the king of all oils, but in this case, its purpose is going to be calming the hyperactivity, okay? We have vetiver in there. So when you have a racing mind, vetiver is going to be the switch that stops that chatter. We have bergamot in there, which is a soothing blend. So that's going to calm the agitation and stress that might be experiencing. And then we have Roman chamomile. And I love this one in the diffuser. So I'm excited that this is in the hibernation roller. But this one is calming, relaxing, soothing, clears the mind, okay? So with the combination of those, you can make your own roller that you can enjoy to help you soothe off into a peaceful slumber. So give that one a try and let us know how you like it. All right. Any questions about any of that before we move to our mood matrix? No? All right. All right, so we're going to take a look at the mood matrix. So this is a really cool quadrant chart. And it reminds me kind of, you know, teaching and like almost like a map matrix. But we're going to break this down. So with the mood matrix, what I want to focus your attention in on is, let's start in category number 1. So that top left corner. If you are feeling fatigue and you're feeling no peace, that's where you're going to go to category 1, which is serenity. That's our restful blend. So that's calming, composing. That one is awesome as well to diffuse at night. Okay, so we talked about the Serenity soft gels earlier. This would be an oil that would be amazing to put in your diffuser. As well as, again, when you're feeling fatigue, no peace, reach for Serenity. If you are feeling fatigue and no passion, we're going to move to quadrant number 2, which focuses on Citrus Bliss. Okay, so Citrus Bliss is our invigorating blend. I like to call this one a creamsicle in a bottle, because if you've ever smelled Citrus Bliss, that's exactly what it smells like, okay? But this one is going to lift you up so that you're not feeling flat. So stimulating, motivating, lovely scent, okay? If you are feeling no peace and you are feeling stressed, this is where you're going to reach for balance, okay? I have a friend who loves to have balance with her at all times. In fact, she's asked if she can have a pipeline of balance brought into her house, okay? But this one is going to provide that grounding. It's going to provide that reassuring, that consoling feeling. Someone described it best as though it feels like you're being wrapped up in a hug. Okay, so if your emotions are shot that day, make sure that you take your balance, grab it, put a couple drops in your hand, rub it together, take a few deep breaths, and you'll feel like everything's just calming down, everything's soothing out. Okay. All right, and then if you are feeling no passion and you are feeling stressed, that's where we're going to look to quadrant number 4, which is elevation, okay? This is our joyful blend, so it's going to be inspiring, encouraging, cheery. On a cloudy day, this is one that you want to reach for, okay? You're going to go from feeling stressed to feeling inspired just by diffusing this one, okay? So when you look at this mood matrix here, you're seeing 4 different oils, but the purpose of this is that you can take any 4 of these oils, combine them together, and diffuse them. I know that when I first started with doTERRA, this was something that I had expressed to Shauna, and I said, Shauna, I just don't know what to put in my diffuser. Like, I feel like if I put A and B, like, is it okay to do that? And she's like, just listen to your heart, okay? Be adventurous, give it a try, okay? If you feel like you just need 2 of these, then just do 2. If you want to combine all 4, you can definitely do that as well, okay? We still doing good? All right. So we're going to move down to the middle section here of the handout, in which we're going to talk about the adaptive collection on the left-hand side. So we talked already about the capsules earlier this evening, but we're going to talk about the oil. Okay, so the 15 ml of oil is another great one to diffuse. So that is going to boost the mood. It is going to calm chaotic environments. So wherever you're feeling the chaos, make sure you have a diffuser in that location and make sure you're reaching for your adaptive and letting that run. Okay, it's also going to reduce anxiety and reduce your tension. And then if you combine the oil with the supplement, then you're creating another powerhouse combo to help support your body. As well as you could even diffuse the adaptive oil and then the citrus bliss as well. So that's another great combo to do to help support your body. And then the roller is just our touch roller, and it is basically the adaptive oil, and it's just pre-diluted, ready to go. So this is awesome to keep in your purse, your backpack, wherever you're at, where you're on the go, and you're just feeling that moment where you can feel stress coming on, or you can feel anxious feelings coming on. That's where I would recommend reaching for your adaptive touch and rolling that on. Again, roll it on your wrists, your forearms. You can even take the adaptive and roll it on in the webs of your fingers. Okay, that's a great place. That's a recommended place for adaptive to go, is going to be right in the web of your fingers. Okay. And then we know that diffusing is a super powerful way to help support our emotions. So by diffusing, the scents and the aromas are actually getting into our limbic system faster than if we had an IV going into our body. Okay, so that's how powerful and amazing diffusing can be. So you can see a few blends and diffuser recipes here, and basically know that one drop that you see is one drop that you would add to the diffuser. So if you were to combine adaptive and wild orange, it would be 3 drops of adaptive and 3 drops of wild orange that you would be adding to your diffuser. But if you feel that that is too much, obviously you do what works for you, and you can always reduce that. Know that more oil is going to be a stronger smell, and then less will obviously be less. Okay, so some great recommendations for you to give a try when you're feeling stressed or you're feeling those emotions coming on to help support you. And then at the very base is a sample wellness box. So it's just a recommendation of some of the supplements that we've talked about this evening. We mentioned wild orange in the diffuser blend recipe, but wild orange is an awesome oil to have. I kind of consider it a staple oil to have because it is that citrus scent. And we know that citrus is one of the top oils that we can use to help support our emotions. So I had an opportunity to participate in a doTERRA event I want to say it was almost a year ago. And when we walked into the event, the first thing that they did was they had a drop of peppermint and they had a drop of wild orange, and they placed it in our hands and they asked us to rub it together, and they asked us to take 3 deep breaths. Okay. And then they said, think of something negative. And it was so hard to think of anything bad, because that aroma and that scent, that combination, which did include wild orange, it just puts you at a happy place. Okay, so that is another awesome one to have to your collection to support your stress and to support your emotions. So if you were to do the LRP with this, please know that you obviously have your supplements here, but this sample wellness box would qualify you for the free oil of the month, because you would be hitting that 125 or higher. And then you're also getting the free product credits, which means that those PV points are coming back to you as something that you can use later on to purchase freebies if you wanted to. Okay. So that kind of captures our stress, emotions, or stress, sleep, and emotions for this evening. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And are there any questions that I can answer for anyone this evening? I'm going to go ahead and stop recording as well.